I should be after I get done with my Demon Souls Soul Level 1 playthrough. I'm going to do Dark Souls 2 next, and I'm
Oh, I'm
definitely
so
de-
sorry.
I'm definitely debating on the DLC because of how weird it gets there. But uh, that's
I would
definitely going to be
say,
interesting because of adaptability. That's going to be the
oh gosh, yeah, here you go. Oh, what does my dodge button do? Well, for SL1, it doesn't work. Oh,
uh,
you mean do I have to do something? No, you just don't have ADP. Sorry, you just don't have a dodge button.
so
It
it's
rolls you. It makes you look funny. That's it.
So with Soul Level 1, you basically a big side objective is to get armor that increases adaptability. And
That is so dumb.
oh
Yeah,
man,
Dark
yeah.
Souls 2 for me. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Oh no, I was just saying that Dark Souls 2 has a lot of great ambitions. Some that
It
I wish they
does.
would have carried on. Some of them they did, but I
Mhm.
wish stuff like life gems. Well, that's the kind of thing they did sort of carry on. And but I like the design of the life gems themselves. You hold it up, you break it, it makes a nice little noise, and
Yeah.
your health slowly increases. I love that, but they kind of just they took all that special charm away because in Sekiro you have these little pellets that you just take it and it's just oh your health's going up now. It's just there's really no
Mhm.
special sound that goes with it, and I think Elden Ring has an equivalent, but I never used it.
Yeah, I really like, and that's a video I'm hoping to get to this year, is why I still play Dark Souls 2, because I hate it so much and I love it so much. I think it has probably one of, if not like blasphemy incoming, I think it has my favorite early game of all the Souls games. And I speak no hyperbole when I say that. I really think it has one of my favorite early games, but it has the worst mid and late game
Hmm.
of all of the whole series. It is just it feels like the game starts out being kind of like fun and interesting and new. You know, the whole enemy thing. Oh, you're fighting a bunch of enemies. Well, just don't lock on. You'll be fine. Legitimately, that was the thing that you said that Nameless King taught you to run out of attacks.
Hmm.
Dark Souls 2 was my you can sidestep and you can run out of some attacks, partially because of the whole ADP thing. But also it was the game that said, "Hey, with the whole lock-on feature, why would you give control to a game that is actively trying to kill you?" Because you know how Dark Souls lock-on will act up all the time.
Oh yes,
And
that's
so I'm like, you're right. Why would I let Dark Souls, a game that specifically says it wants me dead, and say, here, you can control how my movement goes? I'm like, what if we threw you off a cliff? Ah, dang.
One aspect that never gets discussed that I thought was very underrated was the part at the end where you have to kill enemies near the giant statues in order for them to open up
Yeah,
doors.
with their soul goes into it. Yeah, I thought that was kind of a neat way to do it.
And there's one part where you have to be mindful about where you're killing enemies because if you kill them near a statue, it'll open up the door and release more enemies. And I
Hmm.
love that. I wish we saw that again, but unfortunately
Yeah,
we don't. And I
right.
think
Yeah, I think it was the beginning of Drangleic Castle, or like close to the King's Door bonfire, is what you're talking about. There's the really really dark room, and there's all these like these soldiers that are kneeling with their spears up, and then if you kill them too close to the giant statues, they'll open the door and a ruined sentinel will come out. And that's always really annoying because not only does the ruined sentinel come out, but that door stays open permanently. So from then on out, you have to fight any stone soldiers you wanted to and a ruined sentinel. So yeah, that was bad.
Elden Ring brings this interesting challenge in the hero graves, where you have to draw enemies, these shadowed enemies, into the light so you can actually kill them. I really love that. I need to finish the hero's grave that actually has a lot of it because it's a blast. I don't know if you've seen that yet, but I'm so
I have
glad they
no.
introduced a feature like that.
Yeah, I need to actually play Elden Ring someday. I have only, dabbled in it for probably like 5 hours maybe of actively trying to progress. But I was like, wait a minute, I am playing so many other things. Why would I also, play a game that everybody loved? And so I was like, I will wait until I can give it my full undivided attention.
Um,
Um,
so going back to Sir Alone, so what if someone came up to you and said, "Oh, I don't know why you're complaining. Just overpower yourself and just blaze through it."
um, I mean, I think that was more or less the problem
Hmm.
with Sir Alan is I was at as +10 on my weapon. I'm weird. I don't usually upgrade armor because it's Dark Souls and armor unless you're like going nutty and stacking armor. It generally doesn't seem to matter as far as like breakpoints are concerned. Have you ever heard that term, breakpoints in games?
Referring to what?
Referring to damage numbers that you take. So like let's say you have 200 health and there's an enemy attack that does 150 damage. No matter what, you can only take two of that before you die. So let's say you put on some armor that makes it so that it reduces that damage to 100 damage. How many attacks can you now take?
Hmm.
Still two. You haven't broken in, you haven't changed your damage breakpoint. And Dark Souls, because of how damage is done and how chunky it is, you could kind of consider it around a lot of those damage breakpoints. Like Overwatch is, I've been playing a lot recently, and that game is kind of designed around breakpoints where Kiriko, one of the new heroes, if she gets a headshot, she does 120 damage. Most DPS champs have 200 health. So no matter what, unless it's some of the fringe DPS characters, they if you two tap them with headshots, they will die. Then, but of course, that's when like healing and healers and self healing get into the mix because then you have to be like, okay, how many things do they have to do before they can ignore the damage breakpoint
Hmm.
of being two shot and instead being three shot, four shot, whatever, and those all being headshots makes it even harder. It's a big mess. But I think that Dark Souls, because of the way that damage is dealt, and the fact that you're not really receiving healing until you heal, uh, your it feels like putting on armor can give you maybe one extra attack. I found myself in both enjoying as well as um, you know, I found myself enjoying a lot more with the Souls games when I put on light armor and run around with a really big weapon instead of putting around heavy armor, carrying a small weapon and a shield. I find a lot more fun in just wear light armor and carry around a big sword. Speak softly, carry a big stick. Uh,
So
and hmm?
so your play style is to go full throttle. Do you just kind of level up and do you just keep leveling up, or do you have a cap?
Generally, I don't usually play with caps, because 9 times out of 10, I just have some build, like generally like a specific weapon I want to use. Like one of my most recent Dark Souls 1 playthroughs, I wanted to use Smo's hammer, and that takes like 60 strength if I have it memorized correctly, or 50 strength. So I had to at least do that, but I was also playing a kind of tanky dude, so I had investment in vitality and yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't generally play with caps, and but that was the thing. So going back to all of this rewinding was, I was like level 170, 180 when I was fighting Sir Alan. I don't think it was 170, 180. I don't remember my exact level, unfortunately, but it was over 100, and probably over 140 at least. um I would still get 1 to 2 shot by him. So why?
Hmm.
Why does he do this? It was very odd, and I think that was why I didn't love fighting against him, is because it didn't feel like there was any effective way to mitigate damage. Actually, going back to that, life gems are a good lesson in damage breakpoints,
Hmm.
because if you normally get two shot by something, but you have a life gem running, you now are in three shot range
Yeah.
instead of two shots. That was actually something that you could do with life gems. But yeah, a lot of Alon's stuff, it just felt like, all right, play this perfectly. And there were some times where I was like, okay, that felt kind of cool to dodge, but for the most part, I don't know. It just didn't feel the same as like other bosses that I've been like, the bosses you finish, you set that controller down, and you go, whoa, that was so cool.
Yeah, that heartthrob is addicting, huh? Thank you for listening to this podcast clip. If you want to watch more of the podcast, the full podcast is in the link in the description, along with my guest channel name. And if you would like to guest in a future podcast, please contact me and we shall talk so we can discuss many, many topics, more to come. Other than that, have a glorious day.